Hello, today we are looking at the Phylum Mullusca and we are starting right now. Welcome back. We're starting with the characteristics of the Phylum Mullusca. Number one, they are triploblastic. Number two is that the body is bilaterally symmetrical. Bilateral asymmetry in some. In some, there is no bilateral symmetry. The body is unsegmented, often with definite head. Number three, they are not metamerically segmented like annelids. Coelom is present, but it is confined mainly to area around the heart and perhaps lumen of gonads and part of kidneys. Number five, the body cavity is hemocoelic. Number six, dorsal body wall forms pair of folds called the mantle, which encloses the mantle cavity and is modified into gills or lungs and secretes the shell. Shell is absent in some molluscs. Number seven, ventral body wall is specialized as a muscular foot, variously modified but used chiefly for locomotion. Number eight, often circulatory system, mostly closed in cephalopods of heart, usually three-chambered heart, blood vessels and sinuses, respiratory pigments in blood. Number nine, excretion is by 1, 2, or 6 pairs of kidneys, 1 or 2 kidneys, metanephridia, opening into the pericardial cavity and usually emptying into the mantle cavity. Number 10, characteristics of the Phylum Mullusca is that respiration or gaseous exchange is by gills, and these gills are called ctenidia, and also by lungs, by mantle, or the body surface, that is the epidermis. So these are the 10 characteristic features of the Phylum Mullusca. Now we go on and look at other unique features of this Phylum Mullusca. Number one of such unique features is that the mantle overhangs the visceral mass posteriorly to form a mantle cavity, which is found only in molluscs. Number two is that the mantle cavity contains the 2 gills or ctenidia, the hypobranchial gland, the anus, the kidney, the ducts, and the osphradium, a chemoreceptor. Number three, the visceral mass, which is dome-shaped, is covered by the mantle, and that is a fold of skin which secretes the dome-shaped shell. Number four unique feature of the Phylum Mullusca is that the external dorsal shell is protective and consists of 3 layers: outer periostracum, middle prismatic, and inner nacreous. The alimentary canal is complete, that's number 5, often U-shaped or coiled, and the mouth is provided with a radula. The radula is a rasping organ with tooth-like projections. The radula is the essential organ of feeding. Number 6 is that the nervous system consists of 5 groups of ganglia: buccal, cerebral, pedal, visceral, and parietal. The buccal is the radula, the cerebral is the head organs, the pedal is in the foot, while the viscera is the body mass, and the parietal is the mantle. These are joined by longitudinal and cross connectives and nerves to form a cecum. Cecum is spelled CIRCUM. That is also pharyngeal ring. Sense organs for touch, taste, or smells are present, while eye spots or complex eyes, as well as statocysts for balance, and osphradium for testing water, are present in some forms. Osphradium for testing water is spelled Ospradium. Number 7, sexes are separate. That means they are dioecious. They are not hermaphrodite. But in some species, but many are hermaphrodite. Many mollusks are hermaphrodite, but a few are dioecious. Many mollusks are monoecious. That means the male and female sex organs are on one organism, while in a few they are dioecious. There may be 1, 2, or 4 gonads with ducts discharging into the mantle cavity through the pericardium and the kidneys. Fertilization is either external or internal. Molluscs are internal. Molluscs are oviparous, and few are celestial forms lays eggs. Development is indirect and run forms through trochophore and veliger larva or secondary indirect. In many gastropods and bivalves, an intermediate larval stage, the veliger is spelled Veliger, is a derived state. The trochophore larvae are considered by some to unite molluscs with annelids, marine tubularians, nematines, phoronids, etc. in a taxon called Trochozoa. Sexual reproduction does not occur in mollusks. The blood system, number 8 now, the blood system consists of dorsal heart with 1 or 2 auricles and a ventricle. Aerial and venous blood system is present, communicating with hemocoel. The blood is blue because of presence of hemocyanin, which serves as the respiratory pigment. So you can see the blood is blue. So people say that mollusks or snails do not have blood. Why? Because it is not red. No, they have blood because the blood is blue. The blood is blue. It is not ferrous. The iron present in them is not ferrous. It is not the red one. It is the blue one. In the Yorubas, they say kilon leje, igbion leje. They say that a snail does not have blood. Why? Because when it is caught, they don't see any red. But you can see that the blood is blue because of the presence of hemocyanin, which serve as a respiratory pigment. So the iron present is not the red one. It's not the red one. It is the one that is blue. It is the one that is blue. We're going to continue after this break. Welcome back. Now talking about oviparous and viviparous. It was mentioned earlier that the molluscs are oviparous, while a few are viviparous. So what is oviparous and what is viviparous? The main difference between oviparous and viviparous animals is that oviparous animals do not undergo any embryonic development. They do not undergo any embryonic development. That means they don't develop in the body of the mother or inside the mother, whereas viviparous animals develop into a young animal inside the mother. And also viviparous animals are born as live young individuals. Therefore, viviparous do not undergo egg laying, but in the case of oviparous, they undergo the laying of eggs. We're going to continue after this break. Welcome back. Now, talking about the Phylum Mullusca still. The Phylum Mullusca is the second largest group in the animal kingdom. So if they are the second largest group in the animal kingdom, the assignment for you is that which group is the first largest group in the animal kingdom. Mollusca is the second largest group. So which group is actually the largest group in the animal kingdom? You put that across to me in the comment section below. The term mollusca is derived from Latin word mollis, which means soft. that is, having of soft parts in their body. They are thought to have evolved from annelids based on the following evolutionary similarities: a trophophore larva, similar to that of the polychaete worms; central nervous system arranged in a circumosophageal ring. Circum here is CIRCUM. I spelled that before. And then presence of perivisceral portion of the coelom, COELOM. Dorsal position of the vascular trunk. All this makes them to have evolutionary similarity with the annelids. And the molluscs are one of the most diverse groups of animals on the planet, with at least 50,000 living species and more likely around 200,000 and some 35,000 fossil species. And they include such familiar organisms as snails, octopus, squid, clams, scallops, chitons, oysters, and so on and so forth. The living species have been grouped into various classes according to their symmetry and characters of the foot, shell, mantle, gills, and nervous system. So you can be asked that based on the nervous system, how do you classify this organism? Or you can be asked based on the gill arrangement, how do you, based on the gill arrangement or the gill symmetry, how can you classify them? And you should be able to do that and clear that. Now, classification of molluscs. Molluscs are grouped into 8 classes, namely, our class 1 is the class Cordophovita, that contains the Cordophovitans or Cordovids, the Cordovids. Then number 2 class is the class Solenogastris, and it contains the Solenogasters. The third class is the class Monoplacophora, and that contains Neopilina as an example. The fourth class is the class Polyplacophora, and this contains the chitons, spelled as CHITONS. The fifth class is the class Scaphoda, and this an example is elephant tusk and shells, elephant tusk shells. The sixth class is the class Gastropoda. Gastropoda is the best known and is our friend, and this class contains, you can guess the animal in this class. The snail is in this class, the snail. And you also have examples of the class Gastropoda, limpets, and slugs. Then the seventh class is the class Bivalvia, also called Pelecypoda. And example of such class is the clams, oysters, scallops, mussels, and shipworms. The eighth class, last but not the least of the classes, is the class Cephalopoda, and it contains organisms such as squids, cuttlefishes, octopuses, devilfishes, and nautiluses. Now, let's look at the evolutionary trend in this phylum Mollusca. Evolution in the phylum Mollusca. Fossil organism, fossil evidence, number 1 in the evolutionary trend is that fossil evidence indicates molluscs evolved in the sea, and most have remained marine. Most of them are remain marine and they evolve in the sea. Some bivalves and gastropods moved to brackish and freshwater. Only snails, gastropods, have successfully invaded the land. They are limited to moist, sheltered habitats with calcium in the soil. The cephalopods evolved to become relatively intelligent. Number 5, the coelom is limited to a chamber around the heart. Some scientists who have studied the molluscs, they believe molluscs arose separately from annelids, and their coeloms are not homologous. Now, let's look at the economic importance of molluscs. Molluscs are economically important as human food and sources of pearls and other shell materials. Some are destructive to submerged wood. You know, when we talk about economic importance, the economic importance can be positive and it can also be negative. So anytime you hear economic importance, don't think that it is only the negative part, or it was only the positive part. You talk about the positive part. The positive part is the good part that brings money to the pocket of individual or humans. The negative, the bad part of the economic importance is the one that takes money away. So if mollusks damage or destroy submerged wood, what does that mean? If wood is submerged into water and they are damaging the wood in the water, that will make the wood to cave in. Then there will be need for women that have made that bridge to come back and build another bridge. What are they going to use to build the bridge? They will use wood, they will use this, they will use some materials. Are they going to get the material for free? No, they are going to pay for the material. So that means they are going to spend money. Instead of them to make money from the mollusks have made them to spend money. So it is economically important in that sense. Some mollusks, some introduced forms have caused ecological damage. Some serve as intermediate hosts for human parasites. You can see when they serve as intermediate hosts for human parasites, the intermediate host, the parasite now infects man, because man can eat the mollusks. And when man eats the snail or some other examples of mollusks, the parasite enters into man, and then the man becomes ill, and then the man may have to go to hospital. So time that ought to be used at work or at school is wasted, and time is money. So money is wasted, it's gone. The employers are not going to get the benefit of the staff when he's ill, so they've lost money. They are going to go to the hospital also to take care of the parasite. You're going to spend money to see a doctor, to see the pharmacist. You can't go to see the pharmacist for free. You can't see the doctor for free. So that is why they are said to be economically important. So some serve as intermediate hosts for human parasites. Some can cause damage to crops, and shells of some are used as jewelry and currency. So these are some of the features of the economic importance of this important phylum in the animal kingdom. We're going to continue after this short break. Welcome back. Now we want to talk about the class Gastropoda. The class Gastropoda. The class Gastropoda, I've mentioned earlier, examples are snails, limpets, and slugs, and other such animals. Gastropoda is the largest and most diverse class of Mollusca, and it contains about 40,000 living and 15,000 fossil species. How is the word Gastropoda derived? It is derived from Greek word gasta. And what does gasta mean? Gasta means belly, and podos means foot. So it uses its belly as its foot. The visceral mass is contained in a dorsal shell, both being spirally coiled and asymmetrical. The shell is one piece or univalve. The head is well developed, bearing tentacles. The eyes and radula. The foot is large and it is flat with a creeping sole. The mantle covers only the visceral mass, the foot and head being exposed. The nervous system consists of paired cerebral pleural and visceral ganglia. Gastropoda are mainly marine. Some are freshwater, while others are terrestrial. They resemble ancestral internally and externally more than any other classes. And then they are important as food. They are important as defoliators, and they are also important as vectors. The class includes snails, slugs, limpets, whelk, periwinkles, and many more. The main diagnostic feature of the gastropod is that they undergo torsion. You undergo torsion. Take note of that. Torsion. Most exams where you treat mollusca, you are going to be asked about torsion. Something must be asked on torsion. So take note. What then is torsion? Let's talk about torsion for a while. Torsion is the anticlockwise rotation of the visceral mass and shell, though 180 degree in relation to the head and foot. It takes place in the larva. So torsion takes place in the larva. Take note. It is a twisting process that diverts the veliger from a bilateral to asymmetrical form. It moves the mantle cavity from the posterior to the front of the body. That is what torsion does. Torsion twists the visceral organs through a 90 to 80 to 180 degree rotation while in the veliger stage. The anus cavity and mantle cavity move from posterior to anterior, opening above the head. The gills, kidneys, and heart auricles are also switched left to right. The nerve cords are also twisted. The gut becomes U-shaped. The torsion occurred in ophistobranchs and pulmonates. Both are derived from torted ancestors. This allows the possibility of wastes, washing back over gills, or fouling. The evolution of gastropods involved finding solutions to the problems of fouling of the head. The evolution of gastropods involved finding solutions to the problems of fouling of the head. So we said this allows the possibility of waste, washing back over gills or fouling. Now, what are the advantages of torsion? Torsion enables the snail to test the water with osphradium before moving. So torsion allows the snail to test the water with osphradium before moving. Number 2, torsion enables the gills to be bathed with undistributed water. Torsion enables the gills to be bathed with undistributed water. Then number 3, torsion enables threatened larvae to withdraw the head into the shell. Then what are the disadvantages of torsion? The current bearing feces, that is the urine and gametes, are now discharged directly over the head. The evolution of gastropods involved finding solutions to the problem of the fouling of the head as a result of torsion. Now let's talk about coiling in gastropod. We talk about torsion, the animal rotates, it moves in a 90 to 180 degree rotation. So coiling in gastropod. Coiling or spiral winding of the shell and visceral mass is not the same as torsion. So coiling is different from torsion. Coiling occurs at the same larval stage as torsion, but had a separate earlier evolutionary origin. As a result of torsion, the visceral hump becomes elongated due to growth of the internal organs. Thus, the visceral mass produced a long cone, which was longer than the whole body. So a long cone longer than the whole body is produced, and therefore interfering with movement. In order to make visceral mass more compact and easy to carry during locomotion, what is going to be done? The visceral mass and its shell were spirally coiled. Virtually all living gastropods descended from coiled, torted ancestors, even if they now lack this feature. Some arthropods lack the coiling feature now. Some molluscs, some gastropods, beg your pardon, some gastropods lack the coiling feature. Some also lack the torsion feature, but their ancestors did not lack it. It is the current some of the current gastropods that lack it, but their ancestors underwent this spiral coiling. In order to make visceral mass more compact and easy to carry during locomotion, the visceral mass and its shell were spirally coiled. Virtually all living gastropods descended from cold-tooth ancestors, even if they now lack this feature. Other features of gastropods that are important are as follows. Majority of gastropods are herbivorous. Majority of them are also pulmonates and they have lungs. Respiration or gaseous exchange is carried out by ctenidium, mantle or skin. Pulmonates have lungs. Then some species have trochophore larvae. Fertilization is internal. They are both monoecious and dioecious, and they undergo courtship. Circulatory and nervous systems are well developed. Then excretion is by a single nephridium, that is the kidney. So these are the features of this important class, the gastropods. This is importance of the gastropods, where the snail, who is our friend, belongs. We're going to make the diagrams available even on this YouTube channel. Take your time and read more and study more and check other materials that deal with this topic. We're going to continue after this short break. Okay, here are some of the diagrams you need to practice and we have been talking about. So take note of them and practice them, and then try to draw them in your materials and try to practice them over and over and over and over and over and over again until you master them. So you just keep trying to draw it. You look at it, you draw it, look at it, you draw it, and then you try to take note of everything. We're going to continue shortly again. Now, what I want you to do for me now is you take your jotter and all the diagrams we've mentioned so far, try to draw them. The ones you cannot draw, look at it in the material and try to draw them. Keep trying to draw it. The one you can draw, draw it again. The one you cannot draw, try to draw it. The one you can draw, draw it again. The one you cannot draw, draw it again. Try to draw it, and then you label, and then link it to what you have learnt. So in the next 2 hours, I want to be doing that, just drawing, 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 drawing. You may need to get a jotter or a drawing book or a new note to do this purely for drawing. So you draw and you label. You draw, you label. See, this is not an exam yet. The ones you are not able, anywhere you stop in the drawing that you are stuck, go back to the material and check the material and draw it again. Check it in the you can open the material and look at the material, and then look at the drawings, the labelings, the diagram, everything, and then draw it. You can always go back to the material and draw it. This is the practice stage. When it gets to the exam, you will not be able to look at the material again. So practice at this time. So the next 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, keep doing that, keep drawing and keep practicing. I'm going to talk to you some other time. Bye for now.